Hey everyone, it's me Barb, and I'm back today to give you what is hopefully a useful guide on how to work within the item limits in Disney Dreamlight Valley when decorating outdoors. So as many of you are aware, we've always had the 600 item limit for our items placed outside. But as we were decorating within that, many people found that they were hitting basically a mysterious item cap when they were below the 600 and they were still being capped from placing items. So in the most recent update, they have added some clarity for us. So basically we have a 600 and a 3000 number to work within. And I'll go ahead in here and show you. In furniture in the upper right hand corner, you see 600 and you see 3000. I have 467 of my 600 number and 2,349 of my 3000 number. Now you may be wondering, what is a 600 number? Why do we have a 3000 number? So the 600 number is your unique items. Your 3000 number is your total or global items. So the way this works is, let's say I had 50 trees. That would count for 50 of this 3000 number, but let's say they were a specific type of tree, right? The exact same tree. It would count for 1 of the 600. But let's say we had a different type of tree, that would also count for 1 of the 600, right? Now, I'll show you a quick example of how you can see this when you are removing items. So this jack-o'-lantern here, and this purple flower thingy. I've got 1 of this type of jack-o'-lantern out, and I've got a ton of these purple flower thingies around here. So if I go in to my furniture edit mode, I'm going to go ahead and zoom on in. Watch what happens to the 467 of 600 and the 2,349 of 3,000 when I remove the jack-o'-lantern. You can see they both go down by 1 because I removed a unique item that I only had 1 of, and I also removed 1 of the total item. Now you'll see a slight difference with the purple flower thingy. Watch the 466 of 600 and the 2,348 of 3,000. The 466 stayed the same, and the 2,347 of 3,000 went down by 1. And the reason that happened is because I still have more of the purple flower thingies placed around my valley. So hopefully that was helpful in understanding why each number is what it is, and when it'll go down for you, and when it will not. So let's go ahead and hop out of furniture edit mode. So considering how these 2 item limits work, I came up with some ideas for myself to work around these and work within them. And I thought that you guys might appreciate having these ideas to help yourself not hit either of these item limits, because hitting either is not good for you, right? So idea number 1, if you are close to the 3,000 total item limit, go through each biome and thin out the trees. Or if you are okay without trees in certain areas, remove trees in certain areas where you don't feel you need them. Or maybe when you go and decorate that area later, add some back in. You can do the same for bushes and various foliage. And you can technically even do the same with wood and flowers, but they're going to respawn, so it's a lot more effort than it's worth. So I'll go ahead and show you real quick. Let's go find a stick. Let's pick up a stick, guys. I almost always have one up here. Oh, this'll work. This is coal or something, right? So we'll go ahead and look in here real quick at the items. I'm at 2,348 total items and 467 unique. So let's pick up the stick. Sorry, I have to actually go pick it up. There we go. Let's actually pick up the stick. You'll notice when we go back in here that my total items went down to 2,347, but since I have a ton of those sticks laying around, like one literally right there, the 467 did not decrease. So not worth it to deal with it for sticks and flowers. Might as well just let them be where they are. But it could definitely be worth it for trees and things like that. So I'll bring you up here into the forest. Now, I still have a decent amount of trees, but I did thin them out about by 75%. I wanted to reduce my total item limits because I was getting really close to the 3,000 and I want to be able to decorate still. And thinning out the trees is a good way of reducing your total items. Now, another thing I have to suggest for you guys I'm going to be doing is try to only decorate for one season at a time if possible. So let's say your Halloween decorations are still up like mine are near my house. I would recommend taking them down when you decorate for winter, holidays, Christmas, stuff like that. That way you don't have your unique items, your 600 number, being increased by both the Halloween items and the Christmas items. So when you take down the Halloween items and you add the Christmas items, you're not going to have as big of an increase for the 600. So I'm going to go ahead and take us over to the Frosted Heights. The next idea I had was, instead of, you know how people use like a bunch of these small rocks and a bunch of these little ones like right here, you know, this small one that everyone likes to use. Instead of doing that around your path edges, try to let your path edges be more natural. But also, when you are decorating, if you have a place where you're wanting to use, like let's say a small rock, a medium rock, a tree, and maybe some flowers or reeds to combine them to make like a little corner area or something like that, I recommend going in. And a lot of you are aware, but in the landscaping, let's say in the underbrush per se, let's say you were going to use this bracken, oh god, whatever I make is probably going to be an ugly combo, this little plant thingy, and you're going to toss in maybe a bush with it, and you're just kind of wanting to make like a little corner thing, right? And let's say you toss in a rock. Sorry, these are not like a good biome combo at all. And then let's say you toss in like your little medium rock to go with it, and you're just kind of like cluttering an area. And then let's say you put in the underbrush some of this meadow grass, right? To try to fill out around it and make it feel, you know, like there's actually grass and stuff. Instead of doing all that mess, let's undo all that mess, okay? Let's try to find a multiple item that'll work for you. So there's a few things, and there's a big one for each biome, or a couple even. So this is Peaceful Meadow Greenery, right? That's got a bush, a medium bush, and a slightly different colored bush, and a rock, and then a small rock, right? That's like 4 items, and it only increased my item count by 1 for the total items, right? So medium rock, small rock, bush, bush, bush. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items if you place them separately, because you can see these are various types of bushes that we have available to us. That's the medium rock, that's the small rock, right? So that is a 5-in-1. So if we go in here and we go over to, I believe it's under rocks. Let's go down in here. Yes, you'll see the mossy rock and trunk from the Forest of Valor. So if we're going to use this somewhere, you can see this is a big rock, and then there's a big fern, a fern, another type of tropical fern, and then you get a log in there and a couple other rocks all piled in one, and that only cost you 1 to place it, right? So let's go in here and look at Snowy Heights, Frosted Rock, and branches. So that you get the equivalent of a couple rocks and a branch sticking out. I know in some situations this won't work for your decoration, but like this one, you got a rock and you got a little fern and a stick. That is much better for one than it is placing a couple of these with a bush. Especially this one that we have here, that you can literally see which items it's made up of. Like that one is a medium rock, a small rock, and 3 different bushes. You can tell which items they combine to make that, right? So you can also go in here and in the trees, you'll see there's also big items that have multiple things in it. Like this literally has a bush, a rock, 2 palm trees, and a fern. That's a good deal for 1 count, right? And this one here has 3 palm trees, several rocks, a floral thing, and a fern on it. So that is also a really good deal. So multiple items that only cost you 1. So let's go ahead and undo a few of these things I did. I'll have to fix that later probably. Now, if you're getting close to your 600 unique items, my other suggestion is try using more of items you already have placed. So, for example, we'll go over here to Anna and Christoph's. In their yard, I kind of placed an example for you. I've been using these Frosted Height bushes, right? And these Frosted Height bushes. So we also have these other bushes. It's from one of the other biomes. I can't remember exactly which one. Now in the Frosted Heights, I do like these bushes better than these ones, right? But let's say my other biomes, if I can get away with using all of this one in the other biomes instead of using individual biomes bushes in each biome, that takes down a unique item for each various type of bush that I didn't use. So instead of going in here and using, let's go down to landscaping, every single type of bush, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 types of these flowery bushes, right? 8. I lied. There's 8 types of those flowery bushes. Let's say I limited myself to using 3 varieties. That then cuts out 5 unique items, right? It won't hit my total items down any because I'm still going to use just as many bushes as I would have otherwise. And the other suggestion I have is these frosted, so these dwarf maples, right? All of these. You have them for the Frosted Heights, the Dazzle Beach, every single area. You also have them as the light dwarf maples. If you only use either the light dwarf maples, so for each section, use all these, or you only use the dwarf maples, sure, you don't have the variety in size, but that is quite a few that you could be saving because there's 8 varieties of each one. So if you're only using the dwarf maples or you're only using the light dwarf maples, that saves you 8 unique items. So hopefully that's a bit helpful because you can save yourself, if you only use half of these flower bushes, half of the flower bush varieties, that saves you 4 unique items. And if you only use either the dwarf maples or the light dwarfs, that saves you another 8. So that's 12 unique items that can help save you. And that could be a whole different area that you decorate, you know? So that's something I'm going to look into doing. I'm going to probably go through and maybe just use the light dwarf maples or just use the dwarf maples. And I'm going to go and see which varieties I haven't used and which ones I have for the flower bushes. Because doing things like that and being creative with how you work with the items you're given can really help keep that 600 unique items and the 3,000 total items down. Now, the next suggestion I have for you is go ahead and plan out how many items you want to use per area, unique items and total items. So I'd say over here, I probably have like 150 total items and maybe like, I don't know, 20 unique items. Now, I know that I'm getting relatively high on my unique items, but I still have a good amount of room on my total. So right now my unique items, I'm at 467 out of 600, and my total I'm at 2,348 out of 3,000. So I'll pull up my map and kind of show you the areas I have left to decorate. So I've thoroughly decorated here in the Frosted Heights. I've decorated Merlin's area. I've decorated most of the plaza. I've decorated about half the Forgotten Lands and a good corner of the Sunlit Plateau, and a lot of the beach area, about half of it, I'd say. And I have about this section here left to decorate the Frosted Heights, this is the Forest Valor, about half the beach or so, 3/4 of the Gladed Trust, half of the Sunlit, and half the Forgotten. So I have 467 to 600 items out of my total. So I need to be careful how I budget those. So basically, if I think, let's call it I have 140 unique items left, if I plan to use about, 15 to 20 unique items per area that I decorate and try to use my total items, let's see, I've got like 700 to work with, and I try to use 100 to 150 total items per area, I know that I'm not going to be running out of items in a different area I want to decorate, and I'm not going to be hitting that limit. So basically kind of plan accordingly when we're coming in here to decorate. So for over here in the Frosted Heights, for example, I'm planning later today to do a Winter Wonderland. So let's go into all, and we're going to filter by, let's say, some frozen items. Oops, helps if I actually filter and don't click reset. So I'm probably going to use a snow castle. That's one. I might use a throne table. Takes me up to 3. Might use one of these benches, takes me up to 4. Might use a hot cocoa stand, takes me up to 5. Yule Goat takes me up to 6. Icy Fountain takes me up to 7. Now let's go back in and filter by Toy Story items. If I can find where I put Toy Story. Oh my goodness, I know Toy Story's in here. I'm probably going right past it, right? Okay, we're just gonna go through these one by one so I don't look past it. Toy Story. So let's say I use the column blocks, blanket fort, and then I use some of those generic Christmas items. All right, I'll go down to all and I'll go to the bottom. I'll kind of show you the ones I'm thinking about. We're almost there. Let's say I use this snow hut, a snowman, and this big outdoor Christmas tree, and the sled. And some of these lights. That's probably 16 unique items when I went through that. 16, 17 unique items. I could be a bit off. But by doing it that way and playing out my unique items, and I know I'm going to need to do like foliage and stuff. I know I already have the types of foliage placed. Oh, probably those piles of presents too. I'm pretty sure I can keep myself within 150 total items and about 15 to 18 unique items for this area. And I know this is going to be an area that I'm going to deck out pretty nicely. And that's going to basically complete my entire Frosted Heights, right? So sticking within those limits is going to help me make sure I have space to decorate within my limits for future areas. And I'm also going to be careful when I do my other areas. I'm going to try to go as light on unique items as I can, so that in case they add future biomes and they don't up the item levels for us, the item limits, that way I have something to work with, because I don't want to have to be reducing things later. So last but not least, keep in mind, this is still early access, right? So it's very possible as they add biomes and they add zones and things like that, they may find that they're able to increase the item limits for us. Or as they make the game basically run better and more smoothly, they may be able to increase the item limit as well. So we may not be stuck with this 600 unique items and 3,000 total items forever. But we might be. So just plan accordingly, and if you find yourself hitting those limits, go through and try, again, reducing things like trees and bushes, thinning out what you have already. And again, with your unique items, just be careful with what you have placed. I think if you follow those, I think it's 5 tips, I think it will really help you manage that item limit and still be able to decorate and express yourself without feeling too much limitation. So I really do hope that was helpful for you guys. If it was, please like. If you want to subscribe, that'd be also super amazing. And if you turn on notifications, it'll let you know when I go live for things like streams or when I post videos in the future. And until next time, I'll see you all around. And I hope you have a wonderful day in Disney Dreamlight Valley. Bye for now, guys.